Hello everyone, my name is Auro and welcome to the 17th devlog of Mortal Glory 2, a turn-based gladiator roguelike. The first thing I did this week was add saving and loading functionality to the game. It required quite a bit of tinkering to get right. For example, one big task I had was related to the skills in the game. So I will obviously plan to have a lot of different skills, but unlike in the first one, this time I wanted to have some flexibility with the variables of the skills. And basically what I mean by that is that I can have one skill, let's say magic missile. I want to be able to create a variant of that will have different variables. So for example, maybe the first one will do 10 damage and the second one will do 15 damage. And I wanted the saving to be able to support that. And I mean, I actually don't know yet if I will have this variance, 10 damage and 15 damage magic missile. But I wanted to keep that option open if I want to have upgradable skills, or maybe some character trait will affect the skill values or something like that. I don't know. I just wanted to keep the option open. And yeah, I added a bunch of other saving stuff also, so now the game will remember the map state, the team states, inventory state, level up state, shop states, what the details are for the next battle, like the enemy team, what gear they have, all the different perks and skills and whatnot, stats. Maybe one interesting thing to also mention about saving is that at first I was having these lag spikes, these hang-ups when I was saving in the game. In the first one I also had this, and what I did there was to kind of configure what gets saved and when. So I had this big save dumps and then this lighter save dumps where not so many variables are being saved. But I now realize that was actually not really needed because I now realize it is much performant to actually first save these variables to a cache and then save everything at once to the actual file. So previously how I had it set it up was that basically what it did was that every time I saved a variable, let's say games1 integer, it opened the save file, saved that line in there and then close the file and then move on to the next variable to save. But now what it does that it collects all of the different variables to this cache file and then just saves everything at once to the actual save file. And yeah, I noticed that the performance difference was ridiculous. So yeah, now I save all the stuff I want to save in any situation and it doesn't hang up at all. So yeah, it was nice to notice. And by the way, I'm using this easy save asset for saving. It's really handy and supports this caching, so I highly recommend checking that out if you want to use an existing asset for saving and don't know which one to use. Then next, as a quick addition, I added critical hits to the game. Those are basically the exact same as in the first one, and yeah, nothing really fancy about that. Next, I started working on perks for the characters. Now, I had this in the first one also, but this time they will be a bit different. So in the first one they were kind of these stat bonuses that okay, maybe you get 10 extra strength or something like that. And in this one, some of them might also give stats, but I'm trying to make them more impactful and also more rare. So in the first one, it was kind of common that like super high characters will have like 4 perks always. But in this one, I think I will make it so that like 1 is fairly common for a good character, but then 2 is already rare, and then 3 is like super rare. So basically I want there to be like less clutter on the like actual important stuff with the characters. The first perks I added were related to removing equipment restrictions. So normally you can have 1 weapon, 1 armor, and then these 2 kind of like accessory slots. At least currently it's that way. And basically I had this cool idea that okay, maybe a simple case is like dual wielding. You can have 2 weapons. And yeah, it was kind of tricky with all the edge cases to add this perk. So like for example, it's easy to like configure that okay, you can drag a weapon to an armor slot, but what if you swap like the items between these 2 slots? Then what happens? There are a lot of edge cases to actually check that everything goes correctly. But I had some really cool ideas what to do with these type of perks, so yeah, I worked out at least most of the edge cases, and at the same time I also had some quality of life adjustments with the items. So for example, if you drag an item on top of the character, it will automatically equip that and not like make it so that you have to drag to the specific slot to equip that item. I will keep adding more perks as time goes on. And one thing that also made a comeback that I now tied to a perk are these beast characters. So they are familiar from the first game. Basically these really powerful normal, I mean not normal, so a version of this normal unit, a really powerful version that has greater stats and usually better skills and all the stuff. So yeah, a very capable unit to add some more challenge to the game. And then kind of similarly, I wanted to add these boss characters to the game also. So they are also very powerful, and on top of that they will have this unique graphics. They will be bigger than normal units. And my first idea with these was that instead of taking just 1 tile in the game, they would take 4. So yeah, you've probably seen implementations like this in other grid-based games. At least I have seen many of these like bigger units that have more tiles under them. But yeah, I started to think about that and all the logic I have in the game related to the tiles, like well basically everything, the core foundation of the game, and I realized that okay, it would be such a pain in the ass to like make these kinds of like 4 tile units actually work in all situations. So then I figured okay, I can get by like 10 times easier, maybe even more, to just have the bosses be actually just 1 tile, but the visuals will just like outflow from that. So yeah, they will take more space, the graphics, and block out more space, but in actuality they will function just like normal units in the actual game. Then I moved on to one big new major functionality that I am adding in this sequel that wasn't in the first one, are these relics. And what these are these like equipable items that have a very specific functionality in the game. Like instead of giving it just stats, they will twist the gameplay in some very, well, in some cases very unique way, and in some cases maybe like not so unique, but still adjust the gameplay. I got the idea from Slay the Spire, and yeah, I mean, these are probably very common in most modern roguelikes. I think they are a very fun addition because they can twist the gameplay in very fun and creative ways. And for that purpose I also wanted to add the possibility to have two of these equipped at the same time, so you can create some very funny combos with these. And as a very special edge case, I previously mentioned related to the perks about removing equipment restrictions. So yeah, I'm going to have one that will enable to have 4 different relics equipped to one character, which I assume will result in some game-breaking bugs with these combinations, and I will probably curse the decision to add that perk. Maybe I will have to remove it at some point, I don't know, but yeah, it will be fun to see all the different combinations. So yeah, I'm just trying to stretch my imagination now what kind of different relics I want to add to the game, and I think this is one feature that will really shake up the whole concept of the game. I think they will have a major impact on how the game is played, and hopefully very far towards the fun direction and not to the other direction. I'm having a really fun time just trying to imagine all the different combos I can add to the game, and now with the sequel I have more elements to play around with when compared to the first one. I have these environmental tiles like fire and soon to be bunch of others like it, and then I also these neutral units, barrels. I will likely tie those also together with the relics and perks, so maybe I can have a relic that will cause you to spawn a lot of fire around you, and maybe another can be okay, if you're standing in a fire you will actually do more damage, or maybe something more creative than that. And I envision that it will likely be a very fun metagame kind of to try and find these unique and very powerful combinations with the relics and tie that together with the perks and the characters themselves, and yeah, try to come up with something really creative to really elevate the power level of your characters. And hey, that's actually everything I have for this devlog, so as per usual, let me know what you think about all the stuff I added, and if you have any other comments, feedback, ideas, suggestions, I would also love to hear those in the comments below. But yeah, other than that, hey, I thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one.